You opened your charts this morning and felt almost nothing. No racing heartbeat, no urge to jump in immediately. Just calm, quiet, focus on the price action. And here's what's wild, you probably didn't even notice that. Most traders will never experience that feeling in their entire career. They'll spend years chasing the rush of clicking buttons. They'll confuse excitement with skill and activity with progress. But that quiet, boring, uneventful morning, that's the sign. That's what separates the 5% from the 95%, and most people miss it completely. Because profitable trading doesn't look the way you think it looks. It doesn't look like non-stop action and big wins every week. It looks quiet, it looks boring. It looks almost invisible from the outside. Today we're going through the real signs you're quietly becoming a profitable trader. Not the obvious ones. Not the ones YouTubers talk about. The subtle shifts that happen before your account actually starts growing. If you recognize even 3 of these signs, pay very close attention. Because it means the breakthrough is already happening. And you don't even see it yet. If no one's told you this stuff before, subscribe right now. New video every week. Hit the like button so more traders find this. The first sign is one most traders overlook completely. You stop feeling the urge to always be in a trade. Early on, sitting in cash feels like wasting your time. You feel like you're missing something every single minute. So you force trades. You find setups that aren't really there. You justify entries that your rules would normally disqualify. That behavior alone is responsible for destroying more accounts than bad strategy ever did. But something shifts when you start becoming profitable. You realize that waiting is not losing, it's protecting. You start treating cash as a position, not as a failure. You can sit through 5 bad setups and not touch a single one. And when the right setup finally appears, you take it without hesitation. That combination, patience followed by decisive action, is extremely rare. Most traders are the opposite. Impulsive when they shouldn't be. Hesitant when they should act. When you stop needing to trade, you start actually knowing how to trade. Don't whine your entire day. Here's a question. When was the last time a loss made you spiral? Because early traders carry losses like heavy weights everywhere they go. A bad trade bleeds into their mood, their decisions, their relationships. They take the stop out personally. They feel like they failed as a person. That emotional reaction leads directly to revenge trading, which destroys accounts fast. But profitable traders have a completely different relationship with losses. They don't celebrate losses. They don't pretend they don't sting. But they process them and move forward within minutes, not hours, not days. Because they understand something fundamental about this business. A loss is not a mistake. A loss within your risk parameters is just the cost of doing business. Think about it like a casino. The house doesn't panic when one player wins big. They know the math is on their side over thousands of hands. Profitable traders think the same way about their edge over hundreds of trades. When a losing trade becomes data instead of drama, you've crossed a major line. That's one of the clearest signs the shift is happening inside you. You stop at changing your past trade every week. This one is brutal because almost every struggling trader does it. They find a strategy. They take 2 or 3 losing trades. Then they quit. They go find another system, watch more videos, take more courses. They convince themselves the problem is the strategy, not the execution. But here's the real truth that nobody wants to hear. Almost every halfway decent strategy works when applied consistently over time. The variable that breaks most strategies is the trader applying them insistently. A study by Dalbar tracked retail investors over a 20-year period. The market averaged around 9% annual returns during that stretch. The average retail investor? Just over 3%. Same market. Wildly different results. The reason was simple. They kept switching, pulling out and changing their approach. Consistency compounds. Strategy hopping destroys any edge you might have had. When you find yourself sticking to your rules through a tough streak, that's the sign. You've stopped searching for a perfect strategy and started trusting your process. That shift alone puts you ahead of the majority of people trading right now. If you've ever blown up an account from strategy hopping, drop a comment below. You're not alone, and the fix is simpler than you think. Keep watching. Here's what's going to challenge everything you believe about trading progress. Most traders think profitability happens in a single breakthrough moment. One big trade, one perfect month, one strategy that finally clicks. They're waiting for a lightning bolt that's never coming. Profitable trading isn't a moment. It's a series of small, quiet shifts. Shifts in how you think, in how you react, in what you value. And the dangerous part is that these shifts happen so slowly, you barely notice them. You could be 6 weeks away from a breakthrough and have no idea. You could be closer than you've ever been and quit right now thinking you failed. That thought should make you stop and seriously reconsider where you actually are. Because if you're seeing these signs we're talking about, you're not failing. You're building, slowly, quietly, exactly the way every profitable trader built before you. Your position sizing has become consistent. This is the most overlooked sign on this entire list, and it's the one that has the biggest direct impact on your actual results. Most traders vary their position size based on how confident they feel. They go big on trades they love. They go small on ones that scare them. The problem? Confidence is not the same thing as accuracy. Your most confident trades are not necessarily your best trades. Inconsistent sizing turns even a winning strategy into a losing account. Think about this. Imagine you win 60% of your trades with a 1-2 risk-reward ratio. That's an incredible edge. Most professional traders would take that in a heartbeat. But if you risk 5% on trades you love and 2.5% on trades you're unsure about, the math breaks. Your small winners can't offset your large losers. The edge disappears completely. When you start risking the exact same percentage every single trade, that's the sign you've moved from emotional trading to systematic trading. That one discipline alone can take a break-even trader and make them consistently profitable. Sign 5. You stopped needing to burrite. This sign might be the most psychologically profound one on the list. Early traders are obsessed with being right about their trade calls. They'd rather not take a trade than take one that loses. They'd rather move their stop loss than admit they were wrong. Being wrong feels like a personal failure, like they're not smart enough. But profitable traders have completely detached their ego from their trades. They know that winning in trading has almost nothing to do with being right. A trader can be wrong 60% of the time and still make substantial money. How? Because they cut losses small and let winners run much further. It's pure math. A 40% win rate with a 1003 risk-reward ratio is incredibly profitable. But to operate that way, you have to stop needing the market to validate your opinion. You have to be comfortable being wrong frequently, calmly, and without shame. When you stop needing to be right, the market stops being your enemy. It becomes information, and you become someone who processes information profitably. You accurately review your trades. Let's be completely honest about how most traders treat their journal. They set one up after watching a video about discipline and systems. They log trades for maybe 2 weeks. Then life gets in the way, and the journal becomes another open tab they feel guilty about not using. But here's what reviewing your trades actually does for you. It makes your mistakes visible in a way your memory never will. Your brain is wired to forget painful losses and remember winning trades vividly. That selective memory makes you believe you're better than your data actually shows. A trade journal strips away the illusion and shows you exactly what's happening. It shows you which setups are actually working, which ones are draining your account. It shows you what time of day you trade best, what days you should avoid entirely. Prop firms don't force journaling because it sounds professional. They force it because journaling is what accelerates growth faster than anything else. When you review your trades weekly without someone forcing you to, that's the sign. You stopped trading on feeling and started trading on evidence. Your best days are quiet, not explosive. This one will surprise you if you're still in the early stages of trading. New traders dream about the big days. The 5% account gain in a single session. The trade that doubled their money before lunch. Those stories exist. But they're not what sustainable profitability actually looks like. Here's what profitable traders actually say about their best days. I stuck to my plan perfectly and made a small, clean profit. I identified 2 solid setups, executed both flawlessly, and called it a day. I passed on 4 trades that didn't meet my criteria and felt completely fine about it. Those are the answers. Not, I went 10x on a volatile news trade. Sustainable profitability is built on consistent small wins compounding over months. A 1% weekly gain on a $10,000 account becomes over $16,000 by end of year 1. Without a single explosive day, just quiet, boring, consistent execution. When you start measuring your best days by execution quality, not dollar size, that's the sign. You shifted your entire definition of what trading success actually means. Sign 8. You reaccepted that this text real time. The trading industry has a serious honesty problem around this topic. Ads promise you systems that work in 6 weeks, courses that turn you profitable in a month, and traders believe it because they desperately want it to be true. So when 6 months pass and they're still struggling, they think they're broken. They think everyone else got it faster. They think they're not built for this. But the data tells a completely different story than the marketing does. Most consistently profitable traders took 2 to 4 years to get there. Not weeks, not months of aggressive learning, years of real market experience. And that's not a failure timeline, that's a completely normal timeline for a real skill. Surgeons train for a decade before operating independently. Nobody calls that slow. Lawyers study for years before arguing a real case in front of a judge. But traders expect to master financial markets, the most competitive arena on earth, in 90 days. When you stop being surprised that it's taking time, you've accepted the real game. And traders who accept the real timeline are the ones who actually finish the journey. Everyone else burns out chasing a speed that was never realistic to begin with. Bigger picture, the real stakes here. Let's zoom out for a second and look at what's actually on the line. This isn't just about making money from trading. The stakes are much bigger than that. Every year, millions of people enter the markets with a genuine dream of financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom, the ability to work for themselves on their own terms. 95% of them fail, not because markets are rigged, not because they're not smart enough. They fail because they never make the psychological shift we've been talking about today. They stay emotional. They stay inconsistent. They stay addicted to the feeling of trading, and after a few blown accounts, they walk away convinced trading doesn't work. But the 5% who make it, they transform how they approach the entire game. And that transformation pays them for the rest of their life in freedom, not just money. Think about what consistent profitability actually means for your real life. No more depending on one income source. No more asking permission for a day off. No more panic every time your company restructures or your boss changes. That's what's on the other side of these signs we've been talking about today. It's not just a better trading account. It's a completely different life. Actionable steps. Do this now. Step 1. Run a brutal audit of your last 30 trades. Go back through your last 30 entries and look at one thing only: did you follow your rules? Not whether you won or lost, not what the market did after. Did you follow your rules? The answer will tell you whether your problem is the strategy or the execution. Most traders discover it's almost always the execution breaking down under pressure. Step 2. Set a fixed risk percentage and never deviate from it for 30 days. Pick a number: 1%, 0.5%. 0.5%, whatever fits your account size and tolerance. Then apply it to every single trade without exception for the next 30 days. No doubling up. No reducing because you're unsure. The exact same number every time. That single discipline will show you more about your edge than any strategy book ever could. Step 3. Start a minimum viable journal, just 3 fields per trade. You don't need a complex spreadsheet to get the benefits of journaling. Just record 3 things. What was the setup? Did you follow your plan? What was the result? Review it every Friday for 10 minutes. Look for patterns, not perfection. Within 60 days, you'll have more insight about your trading than most traders get in years. Final. Payoff. Here's the thing that most trading content will never tell you directly. The signs we talked about today are not things you achieve once and keep forever. They're things you build, lose, rebuild, and eventually lock in through consistent repetition. Some days, you'll feel unshakable. Other days, a single loss will test everything you've built. That's not failure. That's the process. That's exactly what becoming a trader actually feels like. The traders who make it are not the ones who never struggled. They're the ones who refuse to let the struggle be the ending. If you recognize even a few of these signs in yourself, you are closer than you think. Don't mistake the quiet progress for no progress. The shift is happening. Trust the process. Stay consistent. Protect your capital like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. The 5% is not a myth. It's just a group of people who refuse to give up before the signs became results. You might already be one of them. You just haven't seen it yet. If this video gave you a new perspective on where you actually are in your trading journey, subscribe and watch the next video on screen right now. It covers the exact habits that profitable traders build in their first year, and most of them will surprise you. See you there.